Hello, I'm Chuck Lynch, Vice President of Technical Services here at AERA, and this week we have Phil Ez um, joining us, and he's going to talk to us and tell us about world of ultrasonic cleaning. We'll get into a little bit of his background, how he came through the industry, some race talk, and I think we'll have a pretty fun interview here today. So, that said, I'll turn it over and Phil. So why don't you tell us about yourself and how you ended up where you're at today?
How you doing? My name is Phil Ez, and I'm the owner of Ultrasonic LLC. I designed the machines, founded it, and kind of started in this industry when I was really young. Building lawnmower engines when I was 13, 14, and car engines when I was 15, 16. We opened an engine shop when I was about 18. And so I've cleaned a lot of parts over the years and with all kinds of stuff. When we first bought our engine shop, we used a caustic tank and used like a Texo 505 or something, and it was some mean stuff. It would take a greasy, dirty, rusty block, and it'd come out looking like new. But oh, it was nasty. And we finally got away from that, going to a spray washer. And then what probably made us funny was a thermal cleaning system back a long time ago when cast iron was real popular. We spent like $30,000 on an Ampro cleaning system back in the 89, 90, something like that. That was a lot of money back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that was probably the most profitable machine we bought. It put parts in front of the machine. So then once we did that, then we had to buy machines to get the machines to get the parts machined. And the only reason I say that is because technology keeps changing, and now we have glass bead machines, soda blasters, and all that stuff. And how I got kind of started was we use a glass bead machine. Always hard to get the glass beads out. Nothing worse than bringing a cast iron head off the shelf and you roll it over, all the glass bead falls out after you've assembled it out of the bowl holes and stuff, or out of the water patches. So that was always a problem back then. And so anyway, I started selling equipment when I was about 30 years old. So I'm 59. I really don't want to say that, but that's been like 40 years of being around this deal. And I started as a manufacturer's rep for Rottler and Goodson, and I worked for Quickway, and I worked for Sturdy some. I worked for a couple. Rottler was my main line, and Goodson until we didn't have reps for them, but that was my main lines. And I don't know, it was a year I showed down in Florida, and one of my customers came to me and goes, "Man, you got to go check this ultrasonic machine out. This thing, I want to buy one of these. You need to check this out so I can buy it from you." Is what he basically told me. So we went over and talked to the guy, and I became a dealer for this company and started selling ultrasonic machines. And back in that day, I had a demonstration trailer that I drove around with. I had a Sonda, and I had a seeing dive machine, valve facer,
Yeah,
soda
that's how I
blaster.
met you.
I'm sorry.
That's how I met you.
Right. So, yeah, I had the soda blaster in there. I had the ultrasonic machine, and I'd come to your shop and do live demos and clean your parts, machine your blocks, and show you how the machines work. I've always been a guy that if it doesn't make sense, it's not to buy it. It's got to make you money. I'm going to show you how to make money. Well, if it doesn't make money, well, I don't want to sell it to you either. So, I mean, but what I found out with the ultrasonic is that it cleans where you can't touch so you feel. And I really, really was really amazed by how it cleaned. And so I kind of decided to design my own machine, and I went to a manufacturer, and we started designing on it. And one day I would use a small machine cleaning some injector parts for a race car. Usually you turn the machine off because you put the basket down with parts. Well, this time I forgot. I pulled it out and it squeals. It gets mad. So I set it back down in there and I watched the dirt come off faster. So I started going up and down with the parts. That's how agitation came about. And agitation makes a world of difference in cleaning. I don't care if you're cleaning just a water tank, anything. If you agitate that part, it's going to clean faster. And that's what we did. And I designed that part of my machines. And then we added side mount transducers to the machines. And that was the beginning of it. And then we added the agitation and the filtration and automatic cycles. And that's kind of like new technology. When I first heard about it, I was used to the little grease monkeys, and they didn't really have a bad name, but they didn't have a good name. And a lot of that is it's an industrial machine. It's flat bottomed. All the transducers are mounted on the bottom, so all the dirt off the parts, and we clean dirty parts. Industrial parts are very clean. They don't have much dirt on them. So when you put an industrial machine in an automotive shop and you're cleaning carbon, all that sludge, all that stuff goes It lays on the transducers, it burns on the bottom of the tank, it distorts the sound wave, it distorts the cleaning process. It really just doesn't help much. So that's why I mounted the transducers on the side. And the transducer is more efficient when it's about an inch and a half away from the part. So with a lot of these industrial tanks, they'll put a bottom they'll put a metal rack in the bottom. They'll put a rack in the bottom to equal off the transducer. You don't want to set the part directly on the transducer. So to get depth in the tank, they put the parts this close to the transducer. Well, that distorts the transducer too. So if you start moving that up higher, you lose tank depth. So I was able, the side mount transducers, a big bit tank depth and make it work better. And that's kind of like what we've done over the years with the ultrasonic cleaning part of it. That's kind of how I got into the industry, was from racing, owning an engine shop, to starting Ultrasonic LLC, and we're just trying to improve it and get it better and better.
So that's pretty interesting. Is there a point at where, the transducers, like, when you have magnaflux fluxes, they have overlap and they cancel. So if I have transducers that are at different directions, is there I know it's making the bubbles, so that probably gives you a better opportunity now that when you say side mounted and you're putting them on each end, front and rear, right?
Well, it's the front and back, actually.
Front and back.
The front and back on the large machines within tanks are pretty big. Now, the smaller machine, it's 2,400 or 24-inch machines, only 12 inches wide. So you can't put it on both sides. You put it on one side. And when you get a wider tank, like a 3,800, like a 17 or 18-inch wide tank, maybe bigger than that, it's definitely wider, so we can add it on both sides. And the 3,800, 6,000, which are a 30-gallon tank, 60-gallon tank, 115-gallon tank, a 200-gallon tank, and we can really add some transducers and get really good sound wave in the tanks.
Okay. So
cavitation, basically, it's really not a sound wave, it's the cavitation that's what we were looking for.
Right, the implosion of the small bubble that you created, right. Just like and I did an article on this, I talked about it some in the past, is I think a lot of people don't understand what cavitation erosion is. And it's actually, you create a small bubble that it's a vacuum inside of that bubble. It's not pressurized.
It doesn't blow up. It sucks. It actually gently sucks the dirt off the part. You're exactly right.
So you got Pac-Man going, a bunch of little scrubbing bubbles,
Right. It is like Pac-Man. I never thought of it that way. That's the way it was, a Pac-Man bubble. Yes, sir. That's exactly how it works. So there's a couple things that make that happen. Is the detergents you put in. The right detergent will make it cavitate better and make that bubble bigger and stronger. And the other thing that affects it is to mass the part. Like people want us to clean diesel blocks all the time, and they're 600-700 pounds. Well, 600-700 pounds of cast iron you put in a machine, you got to have 1 million transducers to make it cavitate, because that cast iron just sucks all that implosion. All that cavitation, it doesn't really implode on the part very well, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it becomes more of a hot tank with agitation. And I try to explain that to people, and they don't really understand that part. Just like I would say the rule of thumb is to put about 50% of the mass in the tank. The tank, so it's a 20 square foot tank, you put 10 square foot of parts on it, maybe, and something like that, like half. Like so you can't stack it like a hot tank and expect it to clean. The parts gotta have distance between them, and we make a stackable basket that actually you can stack parts to the bottom of the basket, and then another layer we put more parts, which separates parts of the tank to where it has area around the part where it can actually clean it properly.
Yeah, so that bubble has to travel. It's generated at the generator, right?
Oh, the generator is like an amplifier, yes. So the speaker, which is a transducer. So and the stereo system.
So as it travels through the media, your cleaning solution or whatever. So as you were talking, certain medias or cleaning solutions allow it to work better, the bubble to probably form and be more stable. Like surfactants. If you just put straight water in it, water sticks to itself.
Doesn't really cavitate very well. It'll
Right.
cavitate some, but here's what you really, if you have an ultrasonic machine, heat the thing up with this water in it and run it for 3 or 4 cycles with this water hot. Then throw your detergent in it and listen to it get mad. It really makes a big difference in sound. You can hear the difference.
Mhm.
I've bought meters. I have a cavitation meter that when I first started this company that I stuck in all the tanks to see what the cavitation really was. And I experimented with all kinds of stuff with the side mounted, work transducers with different detergents, temperatures. The temperature definitely affects the cavitation. So like when you get above 150 is an ideal temperature for a tank. And this depends on the detergent you're using too. So if you can have detergents that work less, but typically soap likes heat, and like a spray washer, you might want around 170, 180 degrees tank temperature, where in an ultrasonic tank, the most you want is 160 because the cavitation starts getting weaker. At 170, there's probably hardly any cavitation. So and what happens is the water starts to try to boil and it can't cavitate no longer. So you lose the cavitation and you got a really hot tank. So the ideal temperature is just 150, and then some stuff needs to be even lower than that on billet stuff, brass and copper parts, things like that. We lower the temperature down. We can change the ultrasonic power. There's different detergents for copper and brass versus cast iron and aluminum. For billet aluminum, there's different detergents. So we really did a lot of study on what detergents and what you should be using to get the most efficient out of your tank. And that's kind of what we've done for cast iron. You can learn Ultra 1. That's good for cast iron, cast aluminum. And you start doing billet aluminum stuff, Ultra 2, Ultra 3, that's more general stuff, aerospace type stuff, like for titanium and for brass, copper, materials that are kind of soft that ultrasonic and maybe damage. I mean, we have in ultrasonic, you'll have um, little squiggly marks to get on there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's caused from too much temperature, too much right detergent, too much time. There's a couple things that can cause all that. And shiny stuff really makes them little squiggly marks. So a billet piece of aluminum or a milled head that it's like the RA is really, really shiny and really like a mirror finish, it can attack that. But we have a solution for that stuff. We have some times and some temperatures and what we recommend how to clean that. Some of the things we see is people get their machines, they put about anything in them. They want to clean everything in the whole shop, and then it kills the tank. The detergent's kind of like, and you talked about the surfactants and all that stuff. All that stuff's in the detergent for the aluminum, the surfactants and buffers to keep the aluminum from going dull and getting it dark, right? So that's what kind of helps the aluminum stay shiny and pretty. So what happens is when you start clouding those chemicals up inside the chemical, it starts turning stuff dark. Just like people ask me, when do you need to change the tank? I said, well, it'll stop cleaning. You'll notice that it's not going to clean as well, and that's about the time you change it. Could be 30 days, could be 3 months, could be 6 months. Depends on how much you clean and how dirty your parts are.
Yeah, I think that's a real issue because, we take a fair number of calls on things of that nature. Well, how often should I change this? Whether it's the chemical in your honing machine, what's the usage? If you got a guy that hones 2 blocks a week and a guy that hones 50 blocks a day, their needs are different. And that's going to, with the cleaning solutions and what, it's all the same, right? It's really going to be based on the usage and then maintenance too. So what about systems that you can put on the machine that help you with maintenance because of soil load? Again, as you mentioned earlier, our guys usually have some really dirty stuff and they want to clean everything in there. So they might have stuff that they want to clean for assembly, but they also have stuff they want to clean prior to machining. So are there any filtration systems that you recommend in addition to?
So anytime you clean a part, I don't care if you spray wash it, it's a final clean, solvent tank, you need to rinse with hot water. You got to get all you got dirty solvent you're cleaning it with, you got dirty hot water you're cleaning it with, even in the outside tank, you got dirty water. So when you get done cleaning it, and we have filtrations on our tank. So our tank, when it gets done with the ultrasonic and the agitation, it will turn the filtration pump on and it will skim the top of the tank off. And any dirt flirting with the top of the tank, we're not going to pull the parts back through that. So the only dirt we're going to have on the part when they come out is from the water. And the detergent. Water holds the dirt. You can't hardly get that. You'd have to have like a some kind of water system cleaning system that cleans every time. And when you first charge the tank, it is really clean. But how do I tell about it is you got to still pull it out, rinse it off. So that dirty water, when it's really dirty, it can still clean very well, even for a final assembly. If you pull it out and rinse it.
Okay.
That's what you got to rinse the part. You can't pull out any part of any kind of cleaning tank and assemble it. I would think that's not unless you're just almost like brand new. Your ultrasonic charge is brand new. We still rinse it off. Still get the soap off of it.
Mm-hmm. And this is just a question. Just had me curious. You said about water cleaning systems. Do you offer anything like that, or
We looked at there's companies out there that already do that that have pumps that would you. Our machine has an auxiliary on it that was designed for that, to where it's on a 7-day timer. Where if you want to have an external filtration system on your tank that would come on like when you're gone for a couple hours and run it through some filters that suck off the bottom of the tank and put it back into the tank. We have that option. We've had a couple people do that, but it's not really, it hasn't been that popular for somebody to want to do. So that is an option. We have that as an option, but we don't actually supply we have our filters on the machine. They're built on the machine for cleaning the filtration when it comes back through. But to really clean it and use a really fine micron to clean the dirt out of the water is you would use some kind of external filtration system with some 5 or 8 filters, something like that. 5 micron, a micron, 5 micron, or 10 micron, or something like that. We use a 125 on the machine and a 50. And the 50 sometimes gets clogged up.
So I know in the past that again, your experience with the machine tool world and so forth, that's a good idea for maintaining some of those types of items as well, right? It gives you
Machine tool, we clean a lot of machine tool parts, like all kinds of tooling and fixturing and things like that. Yes, that does really good for maintenance, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not going to upset the precision because, if you get aggressive cleaning with some other methods, again, I think, I liked how you mentioned that earlier. You said, gives you an opportunity to clean where you can't see, touch, or feel.
Touch, see, or feel.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like that. And that's the big difference between ultrasonic and a spray washer. A spray washer is nothing to do with a dishwasher. The dishwasher cleans what it sprays on. You get something in there that it can't spray on, it really doesn't clean it. And ultrasonic will take that part and clean all the little nooks and crannies, clean the porosity of the metal. For like cylinder honing, when you hone the cylinders, all the grit you impregnate back into the cylinder wall when you hone. Ultrasonic will get, I'm going to say 90% of that out there, maybe, and it's not going to get it all. We can ultrasonic clean it and still take a white rag and get just a tin and maybe a little dirt, maybe just a little, nothing like you would, probably not like you would when you get done hand cleaning it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something like Tony Bischoff uses. He's got 2 rubber machines, and he saved probably a couple hours per engine job using ultrasonic for his final thing, because he spends so much time cleaning the cylinder walls and making sure the parts were really extremely clean. So we've saved a lot of time, and that's how it makes you money. It saves you time. It's gotta make you money, and that's how it could do that. If I can save an hour a day in time, at $100 an hour, that's $500 a week. That's $2,000 a month. $24,000 a year. Just one of my machines doesn't cost that much, so it pays for itself very fast.
Yeah, and to that point, that guy can now be doing something else instead of scrubbing around on cylinders and so forth.
Right.
And as long as you have the safeguards of, okay, I know I have a cycle time and I pay attention to, because as you mentioned earlier, it's like the real shiny aluminum. I mean, if you let stuff go for too long, everything can. I remember like the caustic tanks. It wasn't linear. If you run it for 15 minutes, it was probably fine on the iron block. But if you decided, well, I'm going to let this thing go overnight, and you come back to a sponge the next day, I mean, you got to be aware that, hey, it's everything. I always use time temperature curve, whether you're making biscuits or cookies or cleaning parts. Time and temperature are extremely important, and you have to stick to those parameters. But if you do and you pay attention to that kind of stuff, again, that guy, he could be, instead of spraying Marvel Mistral oil and brake cleaner and cylinders to try to get them clean, you can put them in that tank and let it do the work, and you go machine a block.
Well, the nice thing about our machines is the time cycles are pretty fast. Like if you're doing a final clean, 2, 3 minutes it'll be clean. So then we have a light bar system basically on our machines that gives you green, yellow, or red light. So when it's green, it's done, it's ready to go, it's finished. Yellow, it's ultrasonic. Red, or I think filtration's yellow and red is ultrasonic. So that's that ultrasonic. So you can stand across the shop and see your light. So if that thing turns green, you know it's done. You don't have, plus you're going to hear it stop. You're going to hear it run. So it does give you another option to see when the parts are finished.
So I know that for at least the past 5 years, you've been running the top alcohol dragster. How long has it been? Yeah, the funny car. I'm sorry. Funny car. But how long you been doing that now? I know you've been racing for a long time.
I've been racing since I truck pulled when I was like 16. The first thing I ever drove was a pulling truck. I truck pulled at about 18. I decided drag racing. That's when we bought our engine shop. And I thought, well, truck pulling's not really, there's not that many engines. There's a lot more drag racing. So I was a dragster back then. And I ran a dragster for a fairly long time on and off. And then about 2018, I decided to switch to an alcohol funny car. Kind of something I thought about for a long time. I'm kind of a big fella. And dragsters really don't like all the weight in the middle of the car. So, and the theory is a funny car likes weight on the rear tires, which it likes some weight, but not all my weight. So that's kind of fun. Part of the thing we've been dealing with is getting the car balanced with my weight in the car. So, and this last year or so, we've really got the thing running better. I mean, we had a fuel pump for 4 years. It just plagued us with, it just tore itself up every weekend. We just fought it, and we get a little closer, and then we finally figured out what was wrong with it. I had to hire Les Davenport, came and helped us. He seen that right away, and we got the pump fixed on it. And then we had a pump start going bad at the beginning of this year, and it's kind of gave us some problems for 3 or 4 races. Now we got that fixed. So it's just been the things are difficult. It's difficult to drive. It hurts me sometimes. It's a monster. It really is. It's more tang now that it's happy. It was really, really a monster when it's mad. When it's mad, it's shaking and barking and all the stuff it does. That's what it hurts. But now that it's happier, it's pretty fun to drive. Really, it's aimed for. It definitely is fast, and the competition is fierce. I mean, them guys have been doing this for many, many years, more years than I've ever done. And to go out there and be able to run them guys, this song was pretty good, really. So we're getting our program together where we're getting better and better all the time. That's the plan. That's just like Ultrasonic. We try to get better and better here all the time. That's what racing does for you, man. You gotta get better. You gotta find a better way of doing things. That's kind of how this is started.
Yeah, I think that speaks to folks' nature, right? That competitive nature. I want to get this better. I got to improve, continuous improvement.
Right.
And that's what you've done with your ultrasonic cleaning, and
Well,
and you got a Wally SE sitting there over your shoulder.
yeah,
So
that's the first one. That's the first one, we hope, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we won that last year, and boy, that's he says as a kid I dreamed about running an HRA and racing like an actual. And I've won some regional championships, and I've won a lot of other races. But that's the biggest race I've ever won, and to win that in an HRA and the national, that's a pretty big deal. So it's taken a lot of work to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from our experiences. I know I've worked with you on machines from you doing the service work, and so you definitely you've been fully entrenched in this industry, and you know it from the equipment side and the engine building side, and I think that's really important to your clients, right? Okay, you speak their language. You understand the needs and wants and what's important to the part as important to them as a business owner. So
I think it's important too is that we try to get better racing, and we try to get better in business. I think it's important for every business owner to try to get better. Try to make yourself more organized, more efficient, get better. That's the way you make more money. You want to make more money? Think about how to be more. What will help me leave shop? What's the next piece of equipment or the next thing you need to buy that's going to help you make more money, save you more time, free you up to do other things? Because that's what it's about. It's about freeing yourself up to be able to do more things where you can charge more. Like a clean guy. Clean guy doesn't make you no money. No one makes money cleaning. It's part of the deal. You can charge some for it, but no one really makes money cleaning. They make money machining the parts. So if you take your clean guy and train him out in machine parts, now you got someone really making some money.
Right,
That's
right. What's the customer willing to pay for? You know,
right.
they don't care that you have a cleaning guy. They don't care that you have these things. You know, they're all important to the end. So you work on your efficiencies.
Correct. So the other thing too is with ultrasonic, that can be an additional charge. You can use that as a, hey, we also have ultrasonic cleaning. Well, we're state of the art here. You know what I mean? You can advertise. Everybody, most of the world knows ultrasonic cleaning is what it's about somewhat. You know what I mean? It's been more of an industrial cleaning process years ago, which now is into the automotive industry pretty heavy. So I think a lot of people would pay extra to have parts cleaned, precision clean. And today, with all these newer engines, with all the tire clearances and all the little four cylinders, and you got 1,000 piston wall clearance or less, thousands piston rod and rod and crank clearances. I mean, you got to have the stuff clean. You can't have any dirt going through it. So that's where the ultrasonic machine really helps.
You know, where I was first exposed to ultrasonic, as a kid, I was in drafting classes, and that's how we cleaned because that was before the printers that we have now. You know, they had used blue line Dienzo machines that would make blueprints, and then before, you know, with CAD drawing and so forth, the early systems to make your prints, you actually would rig up. It was a XY axis table. It had strings on it, and it had like ink pens that you put in, and it would draw. It would pull these things around based on coordinates it was given. So when we got done, we ultrasonically cleaned those ink pens before we stored them, and that was my first exposure to it. You know, and then you then you're curious. Then you start, hey, how does this work? You know, and that's how I was exposed to it. You know, and you think about like Effordent's been around forever. You put the little tablet in there and you create the bubbles, and and it picks away at the dentures and so forth. So, I mean, it's not new, but it's become very cross-functional. You can use it a lot of
Yeah,
places.
I think a long time ago, it was very expensive. The
Mm-hmm.
transducers, all the technology was really, now there's a lot of it out there, and it's become more affordable, and it's definitely helped. It's definitely helped clean parts. I've been doing this for a while, and I still get amazed when I throw a part in there and the dirt just explodes. Watching the videos on YouTube, the parts just explode. I mean, the dirt just flows off of them. I mean, that's cool. I'm like it.
You know, speaking of your videos on YouTube, yeah, it's good. Tell everybody where they can go see those.
Uh, Ultrasonic LLC at YouTube.com, I believe. If you just
Yeah,
Google
okay.
Ultrasonic YouTube for Ultrasonic.
And you were telling me one time you have like you have kind of a blog at your website where people
Yes.
can ask technical questions too.
I don't,
Um,
we're working on this where they can ask us, they can always email us. So there's
mhm.
places where you can always email us and ask questions on our website. But we've got blogs on there and talk about different things we've done and things like that. But if you have a specific question, call us. Just call. We can answer the phone. We want to talk to you. It's easier for us to talk to you. We do emails. A lot of industrial people, they don't really want to talk on the phone much. They want to do a lot of email, and we do that too. We're here to help you, whatever you need as far as support. So if it's a phone call, we got you. If it's an email, we got you. If you want to see some videos, you want us to test clean some parts, send those. We'll test clean them for you, send them back with a video. So you can actually see if the process works for you. We also do some rental machines where if it's not automotive stuff, it's all industrial. A lot of industrial companies, they don't even tell us what they're really cleaning because it's kind of like a secret. We can sign some stuff where we're not do not disclosure agreements and things like that, but some things we don't even know. So we always try to help those customers also with different things, and we may not even know what they're cleaning.
Or at this point, are you cleaning? We talked about all the different metals, ferrous and non-ferrous,
Yes,
but what about like polymers, plastic type stuff?
plastic works great on plastic. The only
Okay,
problem with plastic wants to float, so you got to hold it underwater. Sometimes plastic floats. Some of the plastic will float.
okay.
We hold it underwater. It does a great job on plastic, spark plug wires, golf. I mean, the stuff you can clean with ultrasonic is almost endless. I mean, we've put so much different stuff in a tank, tooling, uh, it's just endless. The automotive industry is just a small part of the market. Really, it's just really little compared to the rest of the world and what we can clean with it. And sometimes it really does an outstanding job on some things, and some things it doesn't. I mean, it's it's not the one stop cleaning shop. it's a part of the clean process. Part of your process in an automotive shop is going to be a spray wash or maybe even a hot tank, glass bead machine, soda blast, or solvent tank. I mean, it's about everything in an ultrasonic machine. So you're going to pick what machine works best for your application in different spots. We're here to help you figure that out.
Yeah, if you have something rusty, scaly, yeah, blast it off. That's where the heavyweight tools,
Sometimes those ultrasonic takes the rust off.
Mm-hmm.
And we get people calling it. That's another thing. People want to clean rusty parts, and they call us. Well, we want to clean. And I've done this before. The part has to be clean first. In other words, you can't take a dirty, greasy, rusty part and expect the rust to come off. You got to clean the grit off of it. Then we have a different chemical that can clean the rust off.
Okay.
So the problem is it kills the chemical when you put the dirt in it and the oil. It doesn't last long to clean the rust. So in some of our detergents does take some of that rust off. It will take some rust off on some parts.
Well, that's all good stuff. I'm sure that we'll get this posted up and more questions will come. I know Steve and I did another cleaning podcast, and I got calls, on that, and it's definitely a topic that everybody's battling. What's the best method and so forth, and
Well,
with the one of the things, and that's why I mentioned earlier in there, is you have to maintain it though.
I was just going to mention that again. That's the biggest thing. We have some people call us. Ours have water level sensors that monitor the tank depth of the tank water height, so it doesn't turn the ultrasonic on if it's low in water or the pumps. And what happens is when the tank gets low in water, the soap dries on the sensor, and it doesn't see the sensor again, so it's giving you a low water signal. So we have to keep the sensor clean. We have to keep the tank full of water, and you got to change the tank. You got to change it. And one way to check that is with pH. We've done some testing with pHs where you can check it. The other thing I recommend is when you add water, even in a spray wash cabinet or an ultrasonic, anytime you add water, add detergent. So ours is about a 10% mixture. So we take 4 gallons of water, a little better than 4 gallons of water, put a half a gallon of detergent in it, and when we add, we just dump off the water there, and that helps the surfactants and the buffers to keep the aluminum looking good. Because what happens, that's the first thing that wears out of the detergent, and then once that goes away, now you're getting darker parts.
So if somebody wants to really take their process to next level, I mean, can you monitor it with titration kits, or can you use a refractometer to, because one of the things that happens with it, I'm going to go back to honing or machining. So if I'm using a water-based coolant for my machine, well, the water evaporates, but the chemical doesn't. So they think, well, it's down this many gallons, I'm going to add coolant and water. And then now when the refract should be 5, and now they're at 12, and then now you got itchy arms, it's a dermatitis type of issue and so forth. But that's not necessarily going to be the case with the cleaning then, right?
Well, the detergent evaporates with the water, because I was always under, this is one of the illusions I was under for several years, is that the detergent evaporated with the water. Or it didn't evaporate, just the water evaporated, just like the coolant you're talking about, a coolant, where it does, the coolant stays in the tank and the water comes out of it, so you don't want to add more coolant. So that's just kind of the opposite of what happens with detergents. But you can use a refractor. We also use, Newton has some pH test strips. You can check the pH. We have to have, the titration kit has to be made for that specific detergent, and we've had our supplier make it for it, but no one's really ever, we've experimented, but the problem with it, with the dirty water, really affects what you see. So that we found that the strip kind of seemed to work a little better. But the biggest thing is when it slows down, clean and change it. It just needs changing. I mean, it's that simple.
It's talking to you.
This ain't rocket science. Unless you change the water when it gets real dirty and it quits cleaning. I mean, it's not that hard, really. And if it starts turning parts dark, well, that's definitely a time to change. Or yeah.
Well, again, all good stuff, and we've shared how people can get to you, see the stuff that you got shared on your YouTube channel and your website. And as you said, you like to talk to people, so you have yourself and the team answer the phone. So it's all good stuff.
Our service department is outstanding. We definitely take care of problems. We've got a service guy on on call. He's here where we handle stuff. Or if you get a problem, we're gonna talk to you. We're gonna help you fix it. That's our job.
All right. Well, Phil, hey, we thank you for your time. And again, you and I have had a long history of working together, and
Yes, sir.
appreciate that. And thanks for all your help, and thanks for helping the industry. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate it. You have a great
All
day.
right. You too. Take care.